Welcome to the Intelligence Debriefing and Lessons Learned presentation for High Industries. I'm Charles Fleischer. I'll be your presenter today. So a brief overview of the situation. As many of you know, High Industries was hit with a ransomware attack during the summit. The ransomware attack targeted multiple human resources machines. The ransom of $5,000 per machine was demanded for return of control of those systems, as well as a malware detection during the time in the summit of Vaxava. And this particular piece of malware is believed to be an attempt to exfiltrate SQL database information from our systems. So first, it's important to understand the root causes and key services throughout the course of the attack. The attack began with a series of anomalous network activities and a DDoS attack during the Global Economic Summit, and it put a lot of pressure on the incident response team to be able to deal with those. Additionally, it's believed that the attack may have been an insider attack because the MAC address of the attacking machine was on the same subnet as the rest of our machines. During the course of the attack, several tools were used to be able to identify the attack. Alien Vault, IP2 Nation, and various others. Ultimately, a Wireshark packet capture tool, along with crypt tools and snort and stenography, were used to analyze and better understand how the ransomware attack worked and was ultimately able to restore control of those systems. Finally, the information sharing with the security incident report could be shared with the Five Eyed Nations and help prevent future attacks for other attendees of the summit. So during the incident, there were a few key steps which the Security Operations Center was able to achieve, and probably the first and most important was the detection of the Avaxiva malware. Because of that detection, the Security Operations Center was able to remove that and essentially nullify it before any serious damage was done. Another key step taken by the Security Operations Center that was very effective was the analysis of the ransomware. The analysis was able to discover a text file with a encrypted hash inside of it. Using decryption techniques, the Security Operations Center personnel was able to decrypt that hash and discover a password, which could then be used to relinquish control for the malware. Another thing that the Security Operations Center was able to do is they were able to adapt and modify a lot of the Yara and Snort rules to identify similar attacks and similar vectors. Those aided greatly in being able to detect other machines that may have been infected. Um, the firewall was also updated to block traffic from the offending IP addresses, which more than likely mitigated a lot of the damage that could have been done, particularly by the Avaxiva virus. Um, and also, there were steps taken to ensure that a lot of the staff were quickly retrained in their security awareness to prevent any more phishing attacks which could have taken place. So, one important lesson to learn from this situation is how our system restoration took place. So, the attack disrupted our systems for about 48 hours. Unfortunately, that did have some ripple ramifications throughout the rest of the company. There were some financial losses in the inability to conduct business as usual during those times. So any revenue generated during those times, unfortunately, was delayed. Additionally, the time lost by individuals who had to work on this collectively, there were several hundred labor hours spent by various employees either trying to recover lost work, prevent the attack, mitigate the attack, recover from the attack, and all of the above. Um, Finally, the system restoration went relatively smooth because of the training and the quick initiation of the incident's response plan, which turned out to be well designed and well led by the individuals involved. So some of the things that were done very well during the event was the Security Operations Center did a really good job at detecting the effects of a malware, and then they were swift in creating a hash of that and using it to detect it on other systems throughout the network. They were then able to quickly expunge all of that malware, and they did that very effectively. Additionally, they did a very good job at doing an analysis of the ransomware and using it to find the password to decrypt all the information. Additionally, they were also very good in attempting to balance the needs of the organization and try and deliver functionality as best they could while trying to deliver the best security possible. So there were some areas of improvement, particularly in our systems. Probably the first and most glaring is the email security controls did not catch any of the malware. Both the ransomware and the Avexiva malware were inserted into our systems through a phishing email where an individual clicked on a link and the link downloaded the malware onto the system. Second, the intrusion detection systems weren't configured correctly or updated, and allowed those emails or that malware to slip into the system undetected. Additionally, once inside the system, the antivirus software didn't catch it, which is a big problem. That system needed to be updated, or it needed to be um, better managed so that it was able to actually detect and prevent those files from executing before they got an opportunity to do so. And finally, the lack of backups left those systems vulnerable, which was a big problem. Having a better backup schedule would definitely improve security overall. So aside from the fact that there were some gaps in the systems, there were also some policy gaps, unfortunately, that led to some of those system failures. First and foremost is the lack of cyber awareness by the employees who clicked on the link. Phishing emails are designed to be tricky. They're designed to be crafty to try and trick people into clicking on them. However, with proper training, individuals can be trained to recognize those types of attacks. And with appropriate training, I think that those links may have been noticed by those individuals before they clicked on them, and that would have probably prevented the attack, regardless of any of the system flaws. Additionally, the patching policy for a lot of the systems wasn't enforced or wasn't strict enough. Um, I know that patching can be very difficult for a lot of individuals because it takes time out of everyone's busy schedule to wait for their computer to update and to get themselves together. However, it's very, very important, and it should be a priority for Hytema to make sure that a lot of their systems are properly patched. And having a patching policy in place would really help enforce that and ensure that those systems are in fact secure. Additionally, a penetration testing policy could go a long way. To have some sort of internal system that works to look for these types of vulnerabilities, that does things to try and find these type of vulnerabilities before an attacker finds them, can be very, very useful. And without any type of penetration testing policy, where say it doesn't have to be conducted by Hytema, but at least a policy that maybe a penetration test needs to be conducted by an outside penetration testing organization, is done at least annually, preferably more like biannually, would really go a long way in ensuring that our systems remain secure in the long run. So there are some key conclusions and recommendations that need to be taken away from this event. It can really be boiled down to three major things. First and foremost, there definitely needs to be an improvement on the policies regarding training of employees, so that those employees can really be trained properly to recognize phishing attacks. It's a very, very common way for an attacker to try and gain access to a system. Additionally, system patching is very, very important, and the policies regarding system patching need to be revamped to ensure that the most up-to-date patches are on the systems. Um, Additionally, things like the security systems like the antivirus system, the intrusion detection system, firewall, and other defensive systems really need to be updated and scrutinized to ensure that they are detecting all the malware, and catching as much of it as possible, to prevent for these type of things from happening again in the future. And finally, The implementation of a penetration testing policy would be really, really valuable for Hytema. It would really ensure that if there was unpatched systems, if there were individuals who maybe would be gullible enough to click on a phishing email or anything like that, penetration testing would really help to find those type of things prior to an attack actually taking place. And I think it would be very, very beneficial for our organization to really look into implementing very good penetration testing. So I'd really like to thank all of you for your attention. I really hope we were able to learn something from this event and try not to repeat our mistakes in the future. And I'm also available for any questions if anyone has any.